Emma Collins, a 30-year-old graphic designer, had carefully shaped a life in Seattle that mirrored her love for simplicity and quiet creativity. Her minimalist apartment, perched on the third floor of a modest brick building, was a sanctuary filled with thoughtful touches, sleek furniture in muted tones, shelves lined with travel souvenirs from her solo trips across Europe and Asia, and art prints that reflected her appreciation for clean lines and subtle color palettes. Every morning, as light filtered softly through the sheer curtains, Emma would sit by the window with her steaming cup of coffee, watching the city awaken while mentally sketching ideas for her next project. Her days followed a rhythm she had come to cherish. Remote work sessions punctuated by short breaks to stretch or gaze out at the ever-changing Seattle skyline. The quiet hum of her laptop was often accompanied by the faint melodies of instrumental music, a backdrop to her focused creativity. Evenings were reserved for her yoga practice, a routine that grounded her in body and spirit after hours spent in front of screens. On weekends, Emma sought solace and inspiration outdoors, hiking the forested trails that surrounded the city or wandering through art galleries, absorbing the works of local and international artists. These rituals created a steady, calming momentum, allowing her to balance her professional ambitions with personal well-being. Emma's life, though quiet, was rich with intention. She found joy in the predictability of her routines, the way each day offered a canvas blank enough to fill with purposeful creativity, yet stable enough to avoid chaos. Her minimalist aesthetic extended beyond her living space and work. It was a philosophy she applied to relationships and friendships, preferring a small circle of trusted people over a wide network. This approach had shielded her from unnecessary complications, allowing her to focus on growth, both artistic and emotional, without distraction. Her work as a graphic designer had transitioned seamlessly to remote settings over recent years, a change Emma embraced wholeheartedly. The flexibility to create from home had freed her from the constraints of commutes and office chatter, creating an environment where ideas flowed with fewer interruptions. She had set up a corner of her apartment as her studio, with a large wooden desk, a high-resolution monitor, and a carefully curated collection of design books. Here, Emma lost herself in projects ranging from branding for local startups to digital illustrations for online publications. Each assignment was a puzzle, an opportunity to marry form and function in ways that resonated with her clients and satisfied her exacting standards. Despite this fulfilling routine, Emma's life was not without moments of restlessness. Occasionally, a flicker of longing for something less predictable brushed her thoughts, an impulse to break free from the carefully maintained order. Yet, these feelings were fleeting, often quieted by the comfort of her established habits and the grounding effect of her creative work. She told herself that stability was not stagnation, that her life's simplicity was a deliberate choice rather than a limitation. Seattle itself was a character in Emma's story, its moody skies and lush evergreen trees providing a constant, soothing presence. She loved the city's blend of urban energy and natural beauty, the way fog rolled in over Puget Sound in the early mornings, and the occasional bursts of sunshine that prompted her to explore new hiking trails. Her weekends were often spent in these green spaces, where the rhythm of her footsteps and the rustling of leaves created a meditative soundtrack. On other days, she found inspiration wandering through galleries nestled in the Capitol Hill neighborhood, admiring the interplay of colors and concepts that expanded her understanding of visual storytelling. Emma's apartment reflected this balance of order and inspiration. Each item had a place and a story: a hand-woven basket from a market in Morocco, a framed print by a Seattle-based artist she had met at a gallery opening, and a collection of succulents thriving on the windowsill. The space was uncluttered, yet warm, a testament to her belief that beauty could be found in simplicity. It was here, in this carefully curated environment, that Emma felt most herself: calm, capable, and quietly confident. Her social life was equally measured. Emma maintained close contact with a few longtime friends, preferring meaningful conversations over surface-level interactions. Dinner plans were infrequent but cherished, and she often declined invitations to large gatherings in favor of solitary evenings spent reading or sketching new ideas. This preference for solitude was not born of loneliness, but of a deep-seated need for introspection and creative incubation. Emma understood that her energy was finite, and she guarded it with care. Professionally, Emma was at a comfortable point in her career. She had built a reputation for delivering clean, thoughtful designs that balanced aesthetic appeal with functional clarity. Clients valued her reliability and the quiet confidence she brought to each project. Though she occasionally grappled with self-doubt, a common companion in creative fields, Emma managed these moments with a blend of discipline and self-compassion. She kept a journal where she recorded successes and lessons learned, reinforcing her growth and resilience. Her evenings of yoga were more than physical exercise. They were a ritual that connected her with her body and breath, counterbalancing the mental demands of her work. Emma found peace in the slow, deliberate movements and the meditative stillness that followed. This practice not only enhanced her physical well-being, but also nurtured a sense of presence and acceptance that permeated all areas of her life. On one such evening, after a particularly productive day, Emma rolled out her mat near the window and allowed the fading light to cast soft shadows across the room. As she moved through her poses, she reflected on the quiet satisfaction of her life, the freedom to create, the serenity of her home, and the gentle rhythm of her days. In this moment, the city outside seemed to pulse with possibility, yet Emma felt rooted, content in the stability she had built. Though Emma's life appeared uneventful to an outsider, it was imbued with a richness of experience and a clarity of purpose that sustained her. Her routines were not constraints but frameworks that allowed her creativity and self-awareness to flourish. She embraced her solitude not as isolation but as a deliberate space where ideas could grow, and where she could reconnect with her true self. As night deepened, Emma closed her eyes in savasana, the final pose of her practice, surrendering to the stillness. The gentle sounds of the city faded into the background, replaced by the steady rhythm of her breath. In this calm, she held a quiet gratitude for the life she had curated, orderly, creative, and deeply her own. Tomorrow would bring new designs, new challenges, and perhaps new inspirations, but for now, Emma rested in the peace of her carefully crafted world. The steady rhythm of Emma's life encountered a subtle disruption on an unusually bright Saturday morning, when Lucas Bennett moved into the apartment next door. She first noticed him while stepping out to retrieve her mail, a boxy camera bag slung over his shoulder, and a relaxed smile that seemed to brighten the otherwise muted courtyard. He was unpacking a large vintage camera on the small patio space outside his door, adjusting the lens with practiced ease, and his presence carried a warmth that contrasted with the cool Seattle air. Emma's initial reaction was a blend of curiosity and guarded caution. She had always valued the quiet predictability of her routine, and the solitude her apartment provided. The arrival of a new neighbor threatened to unsettle that equilibrium, filling the shared spaces with unfamiliar energy. Yet there was something undeniably magnetic about Lucas's lively demeanor, a kind of effortless enthusiasm that piqued her interest even as she reminded herself to maintain her boundaries. Their first conversation unfolded naturally, without pretense, on that very courtyard. Emma had been watering her succulents when Lucas approached, camera in hand, to ask if the light was better in the morning or afternoon for shooting portraits. His voice was warm, the question genuine, and despite the faint hesitation she felt, Emma found herself responding with thoughtful advice drawn from her own experience with natural light in her apartment. The exchange was brief but left an impression. Lucas's openness and easy smile hinted at a personality that embraced life with a passion Emma rarely encountered. In the days that followed, Emma noticed him more often, setting up impromptu photo shoots with friends in the courtyard, capturing candid moments with an intensity that suggested more than just a hobby. His enthusiasm for his craft was infectious, and though Emma tried to keep a polite distance, she found herself intrigued by the way he seemed to find beauty in the everyday, a perspective that subtly challenged her own controlled approach to creativity. Their interactions remained casual yet meaningful. In the hallway, Lucas would pause to comment on the art prints visible through Emma's window, sparking conversations about favorite artists and creative influences. Emma, usually reserved, found herself opening up in these moments, appreciating Lucas's genuine interest and the ease with which he shared his own stories. His passion for photography was matched by a warmth that invited trust rather than demand attention, and this balance began to chip away at the cautious walls Emma had long maintained. Despite this growing connection, Emma wrestled with an internal tension. The prospect of letting someone new into her carefully curated world stirred a mixture of excitement and apprehension. She was wary of disruption, of losing the sense of control that her routines offered, yet the spark of curiosity ignited by Lucas's presence was hard to suppress. It was a quiet conflict, one she navigated with deliberate thought and an occasional inward sigh. One afternoon, as rain pattered softly against the windows, Lucas appeared at her door with a small wrapped package, a thank you gift for the advice she had given about lighting. Inside was a beautifully printed photograph of the courtyard bathed in golden light, a scene Emma had often walked past without noticing its quiet charm. The gesture was simple, yet it carried a significance that touched Emma more deeply than she expected. It was an unspoken invitation to see the world through his eyes, and perhaps to share a part of her own. That evening, Emma placed the photograph carefully on her desk, its vibrant hues contrasting with the muted tones of her studio. She found herself studying the image, noticing details she had overlooked, the delicate interplay of shadows and light, the way the wet leaves shimmered with life. The gift was more than a token of gratitude. It was a subtle reminder that openness could lead to unexpected beauty. As days turned into weeks, Lucas's presence became a quiet thread woven into the fabric of Emma's life. Their chance encounters grew more frequent, their conversations deeper. He shared stories of his travels, the moments that had shaped his artistic vision, and in turn, Emma revealed glimpses of her own journey. Her passion for design, the solace she found in routine, and the moments when creativity felt both a gift and a challenge. Emma's initial hesitation softened, replaced by a cautious warmth that surprised her. Lucas's lively energy was a contrast to her calm, yet it complemented her in ways she hadn't anticipated. His kindness was steady, never overwhelming, and the way he seemed to genuinely see her sparked a quiet longing she hadn't acknowledged before. It was not a rush of impulsive attraction but a slow unfolding, a gentle pull that invited her to reconsider the boundaries she had set so firmly. One evening, as they crossed paths in the courtyard, Lucas mentioned an upcoming photography exhibit at a local gallery, a collection that promised to explore themes of light and shadow, impermanence and connection. He invited Emma to join him, his eyes bright with enthusiasm and the hope that she might say yes. The offer lingered in the air, a delicate balance between invitation and respect for her space. Emma hesitated, weighing the comfort of her solitary evenings against the possibility of stepping into something new. The idea of sharing an experience beyond their casual exchanges stirred both excitement and a flicker of anxiety. Yet, beneath the surface, a quiet voice urged her to embrace the uncertainty, to allow herself a moment outside the carefully marked lines of her life. In the days that followed, Emma found herself contemplating Lucas's invitation more frequently. The thought of exploring the exhibit, of seeing art through his passionate eyes, ignited a spark of anticipation. She recognized that this was more than a simple outing. It was a chance to bridge the gap between her orderly world and the unpredictable beauty that Lucas seemed to embody. Though she remained cautious, Emma felt a subtle shift within her. A willingness to entertain the unexpected, to welcome disruption not as a threat, but as an opportunity for growth. The arrival of Lucas Bennett had unsettled the stillness of her life, yet it also brought a promise of something richer, something that might deepen her understanding of creativity, connection, and herself. As the evening sun cast long shadows across the courtyard, Emma stood by her window, the photograph Lucas had given her resting on the desk nearby. She watched the light dance on the leaves, feeling the stirrings of a new chapter beginning, quiet but undeniable. The balance between hesitation and intrigue, between guardedness and openness, was delicate, but Emma sensed that embracing this tension might lead her toward a fuller, more vibrant experience of life. And so, with a mixture of resolve and gentle curiosity, Emma prepared to step beyond the familiar, carried forward by the unexpected kindness and warmth of the neighbor who had quietly moved next door. The evening of the photography exhibit arrived with a delicate mix of anticipation and nervous energy that Emma hadn't expected to feel. As she stood in front of her mirror, smoothing the fabric of her simple blouse and adjusting a loose strand of hair, she caught a glimpse of herself, someone stepping tentatively beyond the boundaries of her carefully structured world. The invitation from Lucas had opened a door, and though hesitation lingered, Emma was determined to explore what lay beyond. The gallery was nestled in a quiet corner of Capitol Hill, its glass facade glowing softly against the dusk. Inside, the space was warm and intimate, filled with the soft murmur of visitors admiring the interplay of light and shadow captured in each photograph. Emma found herself drawn into the atmosphere, the curated images evoking emotions that stirred beneath her usual calm exterior. The exhibit's themes of impermanence and connection resonated deeply, mirroring the subtle shifts she sensed within herself. Lucas moved beside her with easy confidence, his eyes reflecting the same passion that filled his work. They wandered through the gallery, their conversation flowing effortlessly from technical details of composition to the stories behind the captured moments. With each exchange, Emma felt the initial awkwardness between them dissolve, replaced by a growing sense of companionship and mutual understanding. There was a particular photograph that caught Emma's attention, a black and white image of a solitary tree standing against a vast cloudy sky. The stark contrast and the raw emotion it conveyed spoke to her in a way that words could not fully capture. Lucas noticed her lingering gaze and shared the story of the shot, a spontaneous capture during a storm on the Oregon coast, a moment of solitude and resilience. Emma listened, captivated not only by the image, but by the way Lucas's voice softened as he spoke of the vulnerability and strength intertwined in that scene. As the evening progressed, their casual conversations deepened into more personal territory. Lucas spoke of his travels, the moments that had shaped his artistic vision, and the people who had inspired him. Emma, in turn, revealed fragments of her own journey, her passion for design, the comfort she found in routine, and the quiet fears that sometimes shadowed her sense of control. The vulnerability in their exchange was tender, a bridge that connected two creative spirits navigating their own complexities. After the exhibit, they found themselves walking along a nearby street, the city's lights casting a gentle glow on wet pavement from an earlier rain. The air was crisp, carrying the scent of pine and distant coffee shops. Emma felt a flutter of excitement mingled with uncertainty as they strolled side by side, the silence between them comfortable yet charged with unspoken possibilities. Lucas broke the quiet with a gentle question about her work, asking how she balanced creativity with the demands of clients. Emma appreciated his genuine interest, and as she spoke, she sensed a growing openness within herself, a willingness to share not just her accomplishments but the doubts and challenges that accompanied them. It was a rare feeling. This ease in revealing layers usually kept guarded. Their conversation meandered to dreams and aspirations, the kind often left unspoken in everyday exchanges. Emma found herself admitting, almost shyly, that she sometimes feared losing her sense of stability, that the unpredictability of life could be overwhelming despite her yearning for deeper connection. Lucas nodded in understanding, sharing how his own journey had taught him to embrace uncertainty as a catalyst for growth rather than a threat. The night deepened around them, yet Emma felt a lightness that contradicted the darkness outside. The magnetic pull she experienced was not just about attraction. It was about the resonance of shared values and the quiet thrill of discovering a kindred spirit. Yet, beneath this budding connection lay her familiar internal struggle, the tension between desire and caution, between the yearning to open up and the instinct to protect her autonomy. In the days that followed, Emma found herself seeking moments to interact with Lucas beyond the casual greetings and brief hallway exchanges. She volunteered for a collaborative project at work that aligned with his interests, creating an opportunity to work alongside him. Their partnership was seamless, fueled by mutual respect and complementary strengths. Emma admired Lucas's eye for detail and spontaneity, while he appreciated her thoughtful precision and calm problem-solving. Late nights in the shared workspace became common as they refined designs and discussed ideas over warm cups of tea. These sessions blurred the line between professional and personal, their conversations weaving between work and life, art and emotion. Emma noticed the subtle way her heart quickened when Lucas's hand brushed hers while passing a sketchpad, or when their laughter filled the quiet room. These small moments lingered, stirring a mixture of excitement and apprehension she had not anticipated. Despite the growing closeness, Emma remained vigilant of her boundaries. She valued the connection but feared losing herself in the process. The internal dialogue was relentless. Why did Lucas's presence unsettle her so deeply? Was it the fear of vulnerability, or the challenge of relinquishing control? She wrestled with these questions privately, confessing to herself that the magnetic pull she felt was both exhilarating and unsettling. One evening, after a particularly intense brainstorming session, Lucas complimented Emma on her creative insights with a sincerity that took her breath away. His words ignited a warmth that spread from her chest to her fingertips, a gentle reminder of the human need for recognition and connection. She smiled, aware of the complex emotions swirling beneath the surface, and responded with a quiet gratitude that spoke volumes. Their friendship continued to evolve, a delicate dance of closeness and respect. Emma cherished the shared lunches filled with easy conversation, the spontaneous coffee runs that punctuated their workdays, and the morning jogs through nearby parks that Lucas suggested. Each interaction deepened their bond, weaving threads of trust and understanding that both nurtured and challenged Emma's carefully guarded heart. Still, the line between friendship and something more remained blurred. Emma found herself questioning her feelings. Was this attraction, or simply admiration? Could she allow herself to hope without risking the stability she so deeply valued? These questions echoed in her mind, a quiet tension that accompanied every smile, every lingering glance. A pivotal moment came unexpectedly on a crisp autumn evening. They sat side by side on a park bench overlooking the city, the skyline illuminated by twinkling lights. The conversation turned reflective, touching on how chance encounters could alter one's path in subtle, yet profound ways. Lucas shared how meeting Emma had shifted his perspective, making him more patient and grounded. Emma, moved by his honesty, acknowledged the profound impact he had on her, expressing that true connection did not have to be reckless or overwhelming. As Lucas rested his hand gently on hers, Emma did not pull away. Instead, she allowed herself to feel the warmth of that touch, recognizing that their bond was built on trust, kindness, and mutual respect. It was a moment of quiet surrender, a recognition that vulnerability could coexist with strength. In the glow of the city lights, Emma realized that her relationship with Lucas was more than fleeting attraction. It was an evolving connection that honored both their boundaries and their desires. The internal conflict remained, but it was tempered by the knowledge that openness and caution could live side by side, guiding her toward a fuller experience of life and love. Emma and Lucas found themselves settling into a rhythm that balanced closeness with respect for the spaces they each needed. Their friendship deepened quietly, nurtured by shared moments that were neither rushed nor forced. Weekends became opportunities for hikes through the evergreen forests that framed Seattle, their conversations winding as naturally as the trails beneath their feet. They spoke freely about hopes and fears, the kind of honest disclosure that built foundations rather than walls. One crisp Saturday morning, as mist hovered over the treetops and the ground beneath their boots was soft with fallen leaves, Emma felt a rare lightness settle into her chest. The air was cool but invigorating, and Lucas's easy laughter echoed beside her, breaking the usual solemnity she carried in her thoughts. Their talk drifted to dreams deferred and passions pursued, and Emma shared a long-held aspiration to design a book that combined her art with stories of her travels. Lucas listened intently, his eyes shining with encouragement rather than judgment. In turn, Lucas opened up about the challenges of sustaining a creative career, the doubts that crept in during quiet moments, and the importance of finding balance. His honesty was a balm to Emma's own insecurities, creating a space where they could be vulnerable without fear. She realized that this connection was rooted not just in attraction but in mutual understanding, a rare gift that transcended fleeting desire. Their weekends often ended in impromptu brainstorming sessions at Emma's apartment, where sketches and photographs mingled on her desk. The creative collaboration invigorated Emma, blending her structured design approach with Lucas's spontaneous eye for detail. Each project became a dialogue, a dance of ideas that pushed both of them beyond their usual limits. Yet, amidst the artistic exploration, they maintained an unspoken respect for boundaries, never pressing too far too fast. One evening, as they sat on Emma's rooftop terrace overlooking the city's twinkling skyline, the conversation turned reflective. The night air was cool, carrying the distant sounds of urban life, and the stars above seemed to listen attentively. Lucas spoke softly about how their chance meeting had shifted his perspective, opening him to patience and quiet appreciation. Emma nodded, feeling the truth of his words resonate within her. "I didn't expect to find this," Lucas admitted, gesturing to the space between them that was charged with unspoken meaning. Not just friendship but something deeper, something that feels real. Emma smiled, the weight of her usual reticence lifting just enough to allow hope to flicker. "Me too. It's not about rushing or losing ourselves. It's about being seen and being safe." Their hands found each other, fingers intertwining with a gentle certainty that spoke louder than words. In that moment, Emma recognized that their connection was built on trust and kindness, foundations that could support growth without sacrificing the integrity she held dear. In the weeks that followed, their bond continued to deepen in subtle ways. Shared lunches turned into quiet dinners, where laughter and conversation flowed easily. Morning jogs through nearby parks became a ritual, the rhythm of their steps mirroring the steady beat of their evolving relationship. Each encounter was a thread woven into a growing tapestry of companionship and understanding. Emma found herself reflecting on the transformation within her. The guarded walls she had maintained for so long were softening, replaced by a willingness to embrace vulnerability as a strength rather than a risk. Lucas's presence had taught her that connection did not require surrendering control, but rather inviting trust and openness on her own terms. At work, Emma noticed a renewed sense of energy and inspiration. The balance she sought between independence and connection was no longer an abstract ideal, but a lived experience. She approached projects with fresh eyes, buoyed by the knowledge that her creative spirit was supported by a relationship grounded in respect and empathy. Despite the growing closeness, Emma remained mindful of maintaining her boundaries. She cherished the space she had carved out for herself, understanding that true intimacy was not about blending indistinguishably, but about honoring each person's uniqueness. This awareness allowed her to engage fully with Lucas without fear of losing herself in the process. One afternoon, as they shared coffee in a sunlit cafe, their conversation turned to the future, not in terms of grand plans, but in the small, meaningful ways they hoped to continue supporting each other's growth. Emma spoke of a gallery exhibit she dreamed of curating, while Lucas shared ideas for a collaborative photo and design project. The excitement in their voices was tempered by a quiet confidence, a shared understanding that their journey was ongoing and evolving. The city around them buzzed with life, but within their shared space, time seemed to slow. Emma felt a profound gratitude for the way their friendship had blossomed into something richer, something that honored both their independence and their desire for connection. It was a delicate balance, one that required patience and care, but it was one she was willing to nurture. On another rooftop evening, as they watched the sun dip below the horizon, painting the sky in hues of pink and gold, Emma felt a deep sense of peace. The pull she had once felt as uncertainty had transformed into trust. Trust in Lucas, in herself, and in the unpredictable beauty of human connection. She realized that this was not a story of losing control, but of finding strength and openness. Lucas turned to her, his expression soft and sincere. "Thank you for trusting me," he said quietly. Emma squeezed his hand, a smile lighting her face. "Thank you for being patient." In the glow of the fading light, they sat together, their bond a testament to the power of vulnerability tempered by respect. It was a connection that promised growth, understanding, and a shared journey, not defined by haste or expectation, but by the quiet courage to embrace life's complexities together. Emma sat by the window of her apartment, the city's soft glow filtering through the curtains as dusk settled over Seattle. The space around her felt alive with quiet energy, a reflection of the transformation within. Her life, once marked by strict routines and guarded solitude, now held a new balance, a harmony between independence and connection that she had come to cherish deeply. Meeting Lucas had stirred something profound in her, opening doors she hadn't realized were closed. The lessons she had learned through their friendship and growing bond were woven into the fabric of her daily existence. She understood now that openness was not a weakness but a strength, and that trust, when earned and given thoughtfully, could nurture growth without sacrificing selfhood. Her days continued to hold the creative rhythm she loved, design projects that challenged and inspired her, evenings spent in yoga that grounded her body and mind, and weekends filled with hikes that rejuvenated her spirit. Yet, interlaced with these familiar patterns was a newfound willingness to embrace spontaneity and change. She no longer viewed unpredictability as a threat, but as an invitation to explore life's richer textures. Emma had also come to appreciate the value of vulnerability, recognizing it as a bridge rather than a barrier. With Lucas, she discovered that genuine connection involved sharing fears and dreams alike, and that such openness could coexist with respect for personal boundaries. Their relationship was not defined by urgency or pressure, but by patience, understanding, and kindness, the qualities she now saw as essential to any meaningful bond. Professionally, Emma felt invigorated. The creative collaborations with Lucas had expanded her perspective, encouraging her to take risks and experiment beyond her usual aesthetic confines. She found joy in the interplay of ideas and the mutual encouragement that fueled their projects. This synergy enriched her work, infusing it with a depth and vitality that clients and colleagues alike noticed. Socially, Emma embraced a broader sense of community, while maintaining the intimate circle she valued. She nurtured friendships with a renewed enthusiasm, balancing solitude with connection in a way that felt authentic and sustaining. The quiet dinners with Lucas, shared laughter during morning jogs, and the simple comfort of his presence became touchstones in her life, reminders that meaningful relationships were built on more than attraction or convenience. One afternoon, as Emma prepared for a gallery opening she had helped curate, she reflected on how far she had come. The exhibit was a culmination of months of work, and a symbol of her evolving artistic vision. Lucas had been an unwavering supporter, celebrating each milestone and encouraging her when doubt crept in. Their partnership, both creative and personal, had become a source of strength and inspiration. As she arranged the final pieces, Emma felt a surge of gratitude for the journey that had led her here. From the cautious boundaries she once fiercely guarded to the open-hearted trust she now embraced. She recognized that this growth was not an endpoint but an ongoing process, a willingness to engage with life's uncertainties while honoring her own needs and values. That evening, surrounded by friends, colleagues, and the vibrant energy of the gallery, Emma sensed the fullness of the moment. Conversations flowed easily, laughter echoed, and the art spoke to the shared human experience of change and connection. Lucas stood beside her, his presence steady and reassuring, a partner in every sense. Later, as the crowd thinned and the city lights shimmered beyond the windows, Emma and Lucas found a quiet corner to sit together. The ease between them was comfortable, a testament to the trust they had cultivated. Lucas reached for her hand, his touch warm and familiar. "Look how far you've come," he said softly. Emma smiled, her heart full. "I couldn't have done it alone." They sat in companionable silence, the kind that spoke volumes without words. In that shared stillness, Emma understood that the true gift of their connection was not just the excitement of new beginnings, but the steady presence of someone who saw her fully and accepted her without condition. As the night deepened, Emma felt a quiet certainty settle within her. The lessons from this chapter of her life, about openness, respect, and the courage to embrace vulnerability, would continue to guide her. She had found a balance that honored her independence while opening her heart to genuine connection. In choosing to stay open, to trust thoughtfully, and to nurture both herself and her relationships, Emma discovered something far more significant than fleeting excitement. She found integrity, resilience, and a profound understanding of love, not as a surrender, but as a partnership rooted in mutual respect and kindness. With Lucas by her side, Emma looked forward to the unfolding journey ahead, ready to meet life's unpredictability with grace and an open heart, knowing that true connection was a dance of patience, trust, and unwavering commitment. If you loved the story, like the video and subscribe.